What's up, you glorious fuck-ups? Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take a mountain of bullshit and squeeze out the juicy bits.
Okay.
Today we're going balls deep into Neuralink, Elon Musk's brainchild. That's supposed to do everything from making you fluent in Klingon to letting you control your smart fridge with your thoughts.
I wouldn't quite put it that way, but the potential of brain-computer interfaces is certainly vast.
Right. So we've got articles, research papers, the whole damn internet at our disposal to figure out if this thing is the future of humanity or just another one of Musk's wet dreams.
Yeah.
Let's cut the crap and dive right in. First things first. What the hell is Neuralink? And don't give me any of that technical jargon bullshit.
Neuralink is developing brain-computer interfaces, or BCIs. Essentially, they're creating tiny devices that are implanted in your skull and connect directly to your brain.
So we're talking about actual chips in your damn brain.
Yeah.
Not some Bluetooth headset you stick in your ear.
Exactly. They're developing these tiny probes with electrodes that get implanted into your brain tissue. These probes can both record neural activity and stimulate specific neurons.
Hold up, back up a second. You're saying this thing can read my thoughts, A&D control my brain. That sounds like some straight-up mind control shit.
It's not quite that simple. But theoretically, yes. The technology has the potential to both decode and influence brain activity. Musk has this whole vision of a digital layer above the cortex, basically adding another level of processing power to your brain.
Okay, so maybe not mind control, but definitely some mind-bending shit. But how the hell does it actually work? Do they just crack open your skull and shove a USB drive in there?
Not quite. The probes are incredibly tiny, and they're implanted using a sophisticated surgical robot that Neuralink has developed. The robot is designed to minimize damage to brain tissue during the implantation process.
So it's like a tiny robot brain surgeon stitching these little probes into your gray matter.
In a sense, yes. The probes are connected to electronics that sit outside the skull, kind of like a hearing aid, but obviously much more complex. These electronics interpret the neuron signals and translate them into digital commands.
Okay, so this is some serious next-level shit. But we've all seen the videos of monkeys playing Pong with their minds and pigs rocking brain implants. Is that really what this technology is all about? Making lab animals into gamers?
Those were early demonstrations of the technology's potential, but they were more about showcasing the basic principles than about creating gamer animals.
Right. So what's the real goal here? Is this thing actually going to cure blindness like Musk claims? Or is that just more of his bullshit hype?
There's definitely potential for medical applications. Neuralink is actively developing a system called BlindSight, which aims to restore vision for people who have lost their sight due to damage to their eyes or optic nerves.
Wait, hold up. So you're telling me this thing could potentially give sight back to blind people?
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
The idea is to use the implant to stimulate the visual cortex directly bypassing the damaged eyes or optic nerves. It's still in the very early stages of development, but the initial results are promising.
Damn, that's some wild shit. But what about us healthy folks? When can I ditch this damn iPhone and just think my way onto Twitter?
Well, Neuralink successfully implanted a device called telepathy in a human patient earlier this year.
No shit. You're telling me this telepathy thing is actually a real thing, not just some science fiction mumbo-jumbo.
It's definitely real. The patient is recovering well, and they've already demonstrated controlling a computer mouse just by thinking. But the full capabilities of telepathy are still being explored.
Okay, so I can't tweet with my mind just yet. But I can at least move a mouse cursor. Baby steps, I guess. But what's the end game here? What does Musk want to achieve with this whole brain-computer interface thing?
Musk has talked about achieving symbiosis with artificial intelligence. Essentially, he believes that merging human consciousness with machines is the next step in human evolution.
Hold the phone symbiosis with AI. What the
Yeah.
hell does that even mean? Are we talking about becoming some kind of cyborg super race like in those Terminator movies?
It's not entirely clear what Musk envisions, but it seems to involve creating a closer connection between human brains and artificial intelligence.
Right, because we all need to be more like robots. But seriously, this whole thing sounds like a recipe for disaster. What could possibly go wrong when you start messing with people's brains?
Well, there are definitely some ethical concerns. The potential for privacy violations is huge. Imagine a world where hackers can access your brain implant and steal your thoughts, your memories, your entire identity.
Yeah, that's some fucked up shit. And what about the potential for abuse by governments or corporations? I can already see it now. Mandatory brain implants for all employees so your boss can monitor your every thought and make sure you're not slacking off.
It's not entirely out of the realm of possibility. And then there's the question of unintended consequences. We simply don't know what the long-term effects of having a foreign object implanted in your brain might be.
Yeah, like what if this thing starts malfunctioning and turns you into a drooling vegetable? Or it makes you think you're Napoleon Bonaparte.
Those are extreme examples. But the point is, there's a lot we still don't know about the potential risks of this technology.
Okay, so we've got mind control privacy violations, potential for abuse, and a whole slew of unknown risks. This is starting to sound less like a technological marvel and more like a horror movie.
It's important to remember that any new technology comes with potential risks and benefits.
Right, right. But with Neuralink, it seems like the risks are pretty damn high. I mean, we're talking about messing with the human brain, the most complex organ in the known universe. What could possibly go wrong?
That's a question we'll be exploring in more detail in the next part of our deep dive.
All right, you glorious bastards. That's it for part 1 of our Neuralink Odyssey. We've covered the basics from monkey mind pong to the potential for a dystopian future where we're all slaves to our brain implants.
We've also touched on some of the ethical concerns and potential risks associated with this technology.
But we're just getting started. In part 2, we'll delve deeper into the dark side of Neuralink, exploring the animal testing controversy, the potential for hacking and abuse, and the long-term implications of merging human consciousness with AI. So stick around, you beautiful freaks, because shit's about to get real.
Welcome back to the deep dive. When we left off, we were wading through a swamp of potential ethical nightmares with Neuralink.
Yeah, things were getting a little heavy there for a minute, but hey, we're not afraid to get our hands dirty in the muck, are we? So let's dive right back into this ethical shitstorm, shall we? We talked about privacy violations, potential for abuse. What else should we be worried about?
Well, one of the biggest controversies surrounding Neuralink has been their animal testing practices.
Ah, yes. The whole monkey business.
There have been allegations of rushed experiments, inadequate care, and unnecessary suffering and deaths of animals involved in their research. The USDA is currently investigating these allegations.
So are we talking about some real-life Frankenstein shit here? Torturing innocent animals in the name of science?
It's important to approach this issue with nuance.
Yeah.
Animal research is a complex and controversial topic, and there are strong arguments on both sides.
Right. But let's be real. Nobody likes the idea of monkeys being strapped to chairs and forced to play video games with brain implants.
The allegations are certainly disturbing, and if they're true, it raises serious ethical questions about Neuralink's practices.
So what's Neuralink's defense? Are
Yeah.
they just denying everything?
They've responded to the allegations, stating that they follow all regulations and are committed to animal welfare. They've also emphasized that animal research is crucial for advancing medical science and developing life-saving treatments.
Yeah, I get it. They need to test this shit on something before they start sticking it in human brains. But how do we balance the need for scientific progress with the ethical treatment of animals?
That's a question that society has been grappling with for a long time.
And one that's not going to be solved anytime soon, I'm guessing.
But let's move on from the monkey drama for a minute and talk about some of the other potential risks. We already touched on the privacy thing, but how realistic is it that someone could actually hack into my brain implant? I mean, is this some real-life cyberpunk shit, or are we just paranoid?
The potential for hacking is definitely a real concern. Any device that's connected to a network can be vulnerable to cyber attacks. So you're telling me some 14-year-old kid in his mom's basement could potentially hack into my brain, implant, and steal my thoughts, or worse, control my actions?
It's not impossible. As these devices become more complex and sophisticated, the security risks will only increase.
Okay, that's officially terrifying. I'm starting to think a tinfoil hat might not be such a bad idea after all.
It's not just about external threats, though. There's also the potential for abuse by those who control the technology itself. Imagine a world where governments or corporations can use brain implants to monitor your thoughts, manipulate your emotions, or even control your behavior.
Dude, that's some straight-up dystopian nightmare shit right there. It's like something out of 1984.
The potential for abuse is definitely there, and it's something we need to be very aware of as this technology develops.
Yeah, we don't want to end up living in a world where we're all just mindless drones controlled by some AI overlords. Speaking of AI, let's talk about Musk's grand vision of symbiosis with artificial intelligence. What the hell does that actually mean? Is he talking about uploading our consciousness into the cloud or creating some kind of hybrid human-AI species?
It's difficult to say for sure what Musk has in mind, but the general idea seems to be about creating a closer connection between human brains and AI, blurring the lines between biological and artificial intelligence.
Okay, so maybe not full-on mind uploading, but definitely some kind of brain-machine interface that allows for communication and interaction between humans and AI. Sounds pretty damn sci-fi to me.
It's certainly a bold vision and one that raises a lot of questions.
Yeah, like what happens to our sense of self, our individuality, our humanity when we start merging our brains with machines?
These are profound philosophical questions that we as a society will need to grapple with as this technology evolves.
Well, this is all getting a bit too existential for me. Let's bring it back down to earth for a minute and talk about the practical implications of Neuralink. If this thing actually works, what kind of impact could it have on our lives?
The potential applications are vast. In the medical field, we've already talked about blind sight, but there's also the potential to treat conditions like paralysis, epilepsy, Parkinson's disease, and even mental health disorders.
So we're talking about a world where disabilities could be overcome, diseases could be cured, and people could live longer, healthier lives. That's some pretty compelling shit.
Beyond the medical applications, there's the potential to revolutionize communication, education, and even entertainment. Imagine a world where you can download knowledge directly into your brain, communicate telepathically, or experience virtual reality with unparalleled realism.
Holy shit, that's some next-level stuff.
Yeah.
Sign me the fuck up.
Yeah.
But seriously, are we talking about a future where everyone's walking around with brain implants? Or is this going to be some kind of elite technology that only the rich and powerful can afford?
That's a valid concern. The initial costs of this technology will likely be very high, making it accessible only to a select few.
So we're looking at another digital divide where the rich get to upgrade their brains while the rest of us are stuck with our factory-issued models.
It's a possibility we need to be mindful of, but it's also possible that as the technology develops, the costs will come down, making it more widely available.
Right, like with smartphones and computers, what was once a luxury item is now ubiquitous. But even if Neuralink does become affordable, will people actually want to get these things implanted in their heads? I mean, it's one thing to stick a needle in your arm for a vaccine, but getting brain surgery is a whole different ballgame.
That's a good question. The adoption rate will likely depend on a number of factors, including safety, efficacy, cost, and societal acceptance.
Yeah, and let's not forget the whole creep factor. I mean, people are already freaked out about Facebook tracking their online activity. Imagine the paranoia when corporations and governments can potentially access your thoughts.
It's definitely a valid concern. Privacy and security will be paramount if this technology is going to gain widespread acceptance.
All right, so we've covered the good, the bad, and the downright terrifying when it comes to Neuralink. We've talked about the potential benefits for medicine, communication, and human potential. But we've also talked about the risks of hacking abuse and the loss of privacy and individuality.
It's a complex and multifaceted issue with no easy answers.
Damn right it is. So what's next? What's the future hold for Neuralink and for us?
That's a question we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive.
All right, you beautiful bastards. That's it for part 2 of our Neuralink saga. We've delved deep into the ethical mire, explored the potential for both utopia and dystopia, and tried to make sense of Musk's grand vision of a future where humans and AI are one.
We've covered a lot of ground, but there's still much to discuss.
Stick around, because in part 3, we'll wrap things up by looking at the current state of Neuralink, its future prospects, and what it all means for you, the listener. So don't touch that dial, you magnificent freaks. We'll be right back. All right, you brain-hungry bastards. We're back for the final round of our Neuralink deep dive. We've talked about the tech, the hype, the ethical clusterfuck, and the potential for a future where we're all jacked into the matrix.
We've explored a wide range of possibilities, from the potential for medical breakthroughs to the dystopian risks of a society divided between the augmented and the non-augmented.
Right. So let's wrap this shit up by talking about where Neuralink stands today and what the future might hold for this mind-boggling technology. First off, what's the current status of this whole brain chip thing?
Right.
Are we on the verge of a Neuralink revolution, or is this still just a bunch of pie-in-the-sky bullshit?
As of right now, Neuralink has received FDA approval for human trials and has successfully implanted their telepathy device in a human patient. This is a significant milestone, but it's important to remember that we're still in the very early stages of development.
Yeah, they've got this one dude who can move a mouse cursor with his mind. That's pretty cool and all, but it's a far cry from downloading kung fu skills or merging with AI. So what are the biggest hurdles Neuralink needs to overcome before this thing goes mainstream?
Safety is paramount. We need to be absolutely certain that these devices are safe for long-term implantation in the human brain. That means addressing potential issues like inflammation, infection, device failure, and unintended consequences for cognitive function.
Right, because nobody wants a brain implant that's going to turn them into a drooling vegetable
Yeah.
or make them think they're a goddamn unicorn.
Precisely. Beyond safety, there are technical challenges related to the longevity and reliability of the devices. We need implants that can last for years, if not decades, without degrading or malfunctioning. And then there are the ethical considerations we've discussed, privacy, security, and the potential for abuse.
So basically, they need to make sure this thing doesn't turn us all into mindless zombies or give hackers control of our brains. No pressure, right?
The stakes are certainly high. But let's assume for a moment that they can overcome these challenges. What could the future look like in a world where Neuralink is successful?
All right, paint me a picture, Doc. What's the best case scenario for this brain chip thing?
In a best-case scenario, Neuralink could revolutionize medicine, enabling us to treat a wide range of neurological disorders and disabilities. We could see a future where paralysis is a thing of the past, blindness can be reversed, and mental illnesses can be effectively treated.
Damn, that's some real hope for humanity shit right there. But what about beyond medicine? What other mind-blowing possibilities could Neuralink unlock?
Imagine a world where communication is instantaneous and effortless, where you can share your thoughts and feelings directly with others without the limitations of language. Imagine a world where learning is accelerated, where you can download knowledge and skills directly into your brain.
Hold on. Are you telling me I could finally learn to speak Mandarin and play the guitar without all the tedious practice and frustration? Sign me the fuck up.
It's certainly within the realm of possibility. And then there's the potential for human augmentation, enhancing our cognitive abilities, our memory, our creativity, and even our physical senses.
So we're talking about becoming superhuman, like some kind of X-Men shit, telekinesis, telepathy, the whole 9 yards.
Those are more speculative possibilities, but the potential for human enhancement is certainly there.
Okay, so we've got the potential for medical miracles, enhanced communication, accelerated learning, and maybe even superpowers. That all sounds pretty damn amazing. But what about the dark side? What's the worst-case scenario for Neuralink?
The worst-case scenario is a world where this technology is misused, leading to increased inequality, social control, and a loss of privacy and autonomy. Imagine a society where the wealthy elite can afford to upgrade their brains with the latest Neuralink implants, giving them a significant advantage over those who can't. Imagine a world where governments or corporations can use brain implants to monitor and manipulate our thoughts and behaviors.
Yeah, that's some straight-up Orwellian nightmare shit right there. Big Brother watching your every thought and controlling your actions. No thanks.
It's a dystopian vision, but one that we need to be mindful of as this technology develops.
So what can we do to make sure Neuralink is used for good and not for evil?
Open and transparent discussion is crucial. We need to engage in a public dialogue about the ethical implications of this technology, the potential risks and benefits, and how to ensure that it's used responsibly and equitably.
Right, because the last thing we need is some rogue billionaire or power-hungry government deciding the fate of humanity without any input from the rest of us. We need to make sure this technology serves us, not the other way around. All right, folks, that's about all the brain-bending insights we can cram into one episode. We've explored the fascinating and frightening world of Neuralink, from the science behind it to the ethical dilemmas it raises. We've talked about the potential for medical breakthroughs, human augmentation, and a closer connection with artificial intelligence. But we've also talked about the risks of hacking abuse and a dystopian future where our thoughts and actions are no longer our own.
Ultimately, the future of Neuralink and its impact on humanity is still uncertain. But one thing is clear. This technology has the potential to fundamentally alter the course of human evolution.
Damn right it does. So what do you think, you glorious bastards? Are you ready for a future with brain implants, or does this whole thing freak you the fuck out?
Let us know your
thoughts on social media. And until next time, keep those beautiful brains of yours sharp, skeptical, and free from any unwanted intrusions. Peace out.